say this season it's fair to say that the team overachieved a little bit?
No, I don't. I think every year, you know what? Number one, it's an emotional time. I think it's not a 1 or 2 days where you kind of decompress and evaluate. I think it takes a little bit. And, you know, when I use terms like that, I think you're talking about your group and what you really believe in. That's me as an individual. I also think, you know, our fan base is important, what they think and how they come to the game. Do they enjoy being here? Do they enjoy being part of our group this year? Did we do a job of developing players? You know, hey, we can point to Kira Schmidt and say what a great story and how he has embraced the city of Utica and our team here and has gone on to really make a difference within the organization. So it's a real mixed bag. I think those stories are yet to be told. I think, in coach speak, at the end of the day, you'd like to still be playing. And we feel almost to a player and a coach that that was a distinct possibility. Toronto didn't agree, and they were the ones that went out and made the difference on the ice.
How important was that playoff experience this year? Last year was some of the first playoff experience for some of those guys. And
yeah.
Getting more of it.
Yeah.
You get the first round, and then you get into the second
right.
round. You know, a lot of those players were coming off their first seasons during COVID, and
right.
there was no playoffs. So I'm just wondering how important something like that is for a lot of the younger guys.
Well, I think it was unique to have a 3-game series, and very pleased with the way we played against Laval and our overall structure. Toronto to go in there overtime on the first one and a pretty succinct win on the second game. So you get yourself in those different scenarios. At the end of it, that's a 5-game series, and when you really get into the crunch and into professional sports, baseball, hockey, basketball, so 7-game series, that's where the juice is. That's where where you know your opponent, you know what he does, you know how he reacts on face-offs, and you get into that will, and that's where the experience really comes. So we're a little light in that area right now. At the end of it, I think our guys got a good taste of a 72-game season, as well as a couple of playoff series against tough opponents. And like I say, I think we all feel like we wish we were still playing.
I wanted to ask you about Nemo. I know he was voted most improved. Where did you see his game kind of improve the most over the course of his first season in North America?
I just think overall maturity. You know, Simon's a kid that came in. He just full of enthusiasm and skill, and he threw it out all on the ice, and he would put it into areas that were sometimes counterproductive, meaning jumping up in the rush at inopportune times. And it's kind of like a dog seeing a bone. You know, sometimes you just want to go. And I think he had a hard time resisting that. I think you don't want to take that out of a player, too, because that's where the enthusiasm, the skill, and where he can be at it. I think just that learning curve of risk versus reward really improved as the season went on. His skill set improved. His overall, just the way he carried himself. I think there's a level of maturity, which when you're 18 years old, I mean, hey, a guy like me, I've got 4 kids that are all in that age range, and you see the difference in maturity between 18 and 20. It's huge, let alone, you know, he's considered, Nemo's considered a rookie at 18, and TJ Friedman's a rookie at 25, right? There's a big difference in that area. But when you drop the puck, that kind of stuff really doesn't matter.
What was maybe the biggest thing that was missing this season? You know, I think you could point to special teams struggled up and down like the rest of the season, but what was maybe the thing that was missing the most?
Yeah, that's where I would start. I think because you look at that's a coaching thing, that your special teams have to have an impact in the game, and unfortunately ours were not a positive for us this year and didn't drive our game when we really needed it to in different scenarios. So that's something that we have to address. We have to put our fingerprint on it. We took a step backwards this year. And in saying that, we felt like we had the right personnel to get the job done. So that's an area that we have to address and to work on over the summer to make sure that that has more impact within our game and in our season. Overall, we felt like our team, the makeup of our team this year, we didn't have the dynamo of a Zetterlund or a A.J. Greer, Chase DeLeo, guys that basically could go out there and score goals for you, and play Boquist would be another one, early in the year. So we had that kind of dynamics. Holtz was here for the most of the year. So we had that ability to score goals, and we felt like we had to play things a little tighter this year, a little more understanding exactly what we were and how we had to play to have success, starting with our good goaltending, being a strong defense and really counterpunch and be opportunistic on offense. And I think there's different stretches. We had an 11-game streak where we went without a regulation loss. We saw real good snapshots of that, and I think we can always strive to make sure that we do absolutely everything we can to make sure that we're healthy night in, night out. We had some real challenges on the health front.
You've been in this game a while, both player and a coach. From a coaching standpoint, what's your self-evaluation process as you head into the off season? Obviously, you mentioned wanting to get better.
Yeah.
For you as well.
Well, along the way, I'll catch up with either Joe Gambardella lives in Saratoga. That's an easy one, or a Ryan Schmelzer's just down the road. You get a chance to get feedback. I think. A lot of times right after the season I think those meetings are always, there's a little emotion built in there. So you have conversations within your staff, and not just your coaching staff, your training staff on the medical, on your equipment side, about how we go about our business on the day-to-day. And I don't know if there's an exact formula. You find what you feel works for you and your team, and you move forward in what you think. But I think there's always room for evaluation, and certainly self-evaluation. And the only way to get better is to ask a lot of questions, get a lot of input. At the end, you've got to make some hard decisions during the season, after the season. So it's just making sure that you feel like you've got a good body of communication that can help lead to good decision-making moving forward.
Coach, just looking at some of the guys who have been called up to New Jersey since the season ended, do you have any kind of recommendations or any sway in some of those names, or is that top down?
That would be a decision that's certainly made out of New Jersey and the makeup of their roster and the players they feel that can be just inserted immediately into a lineup. And we've had a chance to skate for a couple days here in Utica. Now we're going to head down to New Jersey and be on standby as needed. So, they're excited. I think you get around that playoffs atmosphere, and that's what it's all about. That's what all the work all summer long, all season long leads to this time of year. So I'm excited for those players and to be able to join them down there and get some skates going on and just be exposed to that playoff hockey there's no better. So we feel like everybody that's going down there is a legitimate option to get in the lineup.
And of that kind of group, was there anyone that maybe surprised you or you didn't expect to see join the playoff roster that is now? Or, I know you mentioned like Brian Allen, and he was a guy that, college signee last year and is now, getting the opportunity to be on an NHL playoff roster. But was there anyone that kind of surprised you?
No. I feel like everybody that gets is going up to New Jersey in a what we call Black Aces role can fill a certain role within that New Jersey lineup. And I think there's some enthusiasm that you always bring somebody in, and I think they understand that. They practice hard. They're making sure that they're ready for that opportunity if it does arrive. But no, as far as surprises, we feel like some players might be built for a little different spot in the lineup than others, and it's whatever's needed, we're ready to go.
Coach, I know that you mentioned before, some of the Akira going up and just some of those positive things, but just as a team, what were some of the positives that you saw from this year? I mean, I think from our standpoint, we saw a lot of resiliency in this team. And
Yeah.
building a lot of battle back. But from your standpoint, what did you think did go well?
Well, I like the idea that we really have a solid veteran leadership base, guys that have been around a little bit, and I think you say, oh, that rubs off and they're the leaders, but then all of a sudden you see that next core of young guys. I'd take a Nolan Foote as a guy who's 22, I think, Nolan, maybe 21, has come in, and he's a guy that's grabbed that reins a little bit, that you see him working out with guys, doing work after practice, has a strong, sincere voice, and that would be one area that we're excited about moving forward, is the progression of our guys on and off the ice as far as maturity and understanding on what it takes to be a real consummate pro. So that's a good step. I think we just get used to our surroundings here. I would say, for me, the area, I thought we were good on the road for the most part. I think at home we have to have more of a identity and a statement that this is going to be an extremely hard place to play. And at the end, I felt like that was a difference maker for us, and something that we don't look at as a positive, something to build on.
Do you think maybe that play at home, the team almost put a little bit of pressure on themselves because of the fact that they wanted to win for the fans here?
I think that plays into it a little bit, but I think there's also understanding that helps me as a coach, that I got a pretty good feel for what our fan base really enjoys, and it's not going to all be just a skill set. There is I use the word identity a lot, but I go back to it because that you are a hard physical team to play against, and I like the idea that we really believe that we are not a team that doesn't embellish. We play extremely hard, whistle to whistle. There's some discipline within our game. I just feel that when you have that and we are flying on all cylinders, boy, it makes a huge difference. And we saw real good snapshots of that. We just need more consistency in that area.
Speaking of the fans, just 2 years now playing for them, just you have a message for them at the end of this year. What do you have to say to the fans that did support you again the whole year?
Well, as always, we thank our fan base, and I look at the way just our organization works around here, and it starts with the passion in the hockey community. You look how many rinks we have within 15 miles. I mean, Hamilton College and the rink in Clinton, and obviously the Nexus Center in Whitesboro, and you can keep going. New Hartford's got a rink. I mean, it's really amazing for an area this size to know the amount of sheets of ice that are available and the quality of our fan base. They are passionate about hockey. They've grown up with it. And they come and enjoy supporting us, the universities, both the men's and the women's, and it's just a great place to play. And trust me, I've been around a little bit. I came here from San Diego, right? And you know what? There's some real advantages to living in a place like that, and to being in a non-traditional hockey market. But boy, I think our players, they enjoy not only playing here, but also being part of the community. So we look at that as a real bonus for us.
Obviously, a lot of different factors. It sounds like you're already looking forward to next year and planning to be back and planning on the next season here.
Always, yeah. That's for me. I'm signed through next year, and I think our feeling is there's some unfinished business. We've already started evaluating internally how we're going to build our roster next year. We'll take it to the next step in a little bit and look through our scouting staff at some other options that come in and not be impact players. So, the investment is there out of the New Jersey Devils to put a really good team in your American League city, and that's not always the template I think every NHL team follows. So you take that, and then you take the leadership of Robert Esch and how his passion for the game, for the Comets, and we feel like we'd like to take the folks here for a little bit of a run next spring.
My last one, did you have any players that were injured that you need, I mean, more of the off season to kind of get healthy, I guess? I mean, I'm thinking, Mikovic had the surgery and
Yeah.
the time.
Yes.
I know
Vuk's there.
Foot's going up, but he missed the last 5.
Correct. It's going to take some time. Hataka would be another one that just, would have been a real useful player coming in off the trade with San Jose, but we're looking long term on Hataka coming in, getting healthy, skated here for a month and a half. Not an easy job to know that you weren't going to be able to play, but it's an injury that'll be 100% by the time we get rolling at development camp and, more importantly, training camp in September. So there's probably one other one that needs to be taken care of in a timely manner, and that one's will have a real impact on our lineup. So we'll wait and get the report on our health status as soon as the whole playoffs are over.
Nolan Foot, he was kind of injured those last couple of games. Like, obviously he's part of that Black Aces group.
Correct.
Would he be an option if he needed to be at this point up there?
Not tomorrow night, because he has not been fully cleared as of yet, but he certainly is trending in the right direction. So we'll get down there, we'll get a look at the medical staff and get a feedback on when he's ready to roll.